Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gotham Chess Slow Run. This is episode number 35, and today we will cross 1500. Thus far, the episodes have been quite fascinating. The battles are getting tougher and tougher. People are playing chess at 14 and 1500 level better than they ever have in the history of humanity. So if you are struggling to get past that point, or you have gotten past that point but have plateaued a little bit later, just know that you are not experiencing that phenomenon in your head. Chess players are getting stronger and stronger every day. I have no idea when the slow run is going to end, but we have crossed a very important threshold for a lot of people. Not yet, actually, because we're like one game away, but I'm assuming I'm going to get there. As always, these episodes and the slow run are sponsored by me. If you want to come to the 2026 Europe tour, you should. We'll be in Köln, Amsterdam, Zurich, Paris, and Paris in the UK, and London. And oh my, I just can't wait for the next book to come out. And you know what? You should know. How to Win at Chess, the trilogy, is being written right now. I've already started. I'm deep in the research of 1600 level chess all the way up to 2200 level chess. So there will be a third book for the advanced folks, those folks that are trying to get to master level. Can't wait. I've actually realized I really enjoy writing chess books. I mean, I really enjoy recording videos and talking about chess. Today, I just hope I don't get outplayed by a 1400. Let's start with the king's pawn game. E4, my opponent goes d6. My favorite way to meet d6 and this system is to play knight c3. And, okay, a Peer's defense. Now, my favorite way, the way that I actually have in my courses, is h3. This is a very peculiar little system. The point of this is to go g4. Do we not have any peace sounds? Oh, sorry, I have my headphones plugged in. Okay, now you'll see some. And it's to go h3, g4. Now, you might be looking at this like, Gotham, you've spent the whole slow run telling me principled play, this, getting my pieces out. As you get stronger at chess, you build behind an opening. You don't have to. You could stick to principles until you're like 2000. But the whole point of the slow run is to learn different things in different episodes. And I'm going to show you this particular setup. So this is a very weird thing to do. Like, you don't put the knight here. You play h3, g4. Why are you playing h3, g4? Well, you're playing like this because you're taking away squares from these two pieces. The knight and the bishop don't have easy access to move. And also in the future, you could potentially launch an attack on the opponent. Now here I can play d5. d5 is very useful for locking up the position, really restricting my opponent's pieces, although trading, and then even trading the queens, was not so stupid. The knight will develop to e2, and when we trade, which I imagine my opponent's going to take immediately, people at 14, 1500 generally don't keep the tension longer than they absolutely have to. Yeah, black is just going to take instantly. This is one thing I've learned about master level opponents and, 1400s. I'm taking with the pawn, taking with the knight was also possible. And I think we can castle. I don't think there's anything wrong with this move. Now, I would like to play g5, but then the knight will go to h5. So knight g3, stopping knight h5 at some point will be a useful move. Another possibility is to develop my bishop and my queen in long castle and leave this for an attack. It's just impossible to know which of these is the right choice right now. I'm going to short castle, and that might seem counterintuitive considering I've already pushed pawns in front of my king, but I don't actually think it's that bad. Then knight g3 followed by g5. Okay, knight to c5. We can, of course, continue with our plan. Knight to g3. This also adds a defender to the pawn on g4. And now g5 and h4 are always nice moves because they kick away the knight. And we can still launch a same-side king-side attack. It's actually totally reasonable. Now, one thing about this knight, I can attack it to boot it. I don't love the move b4 because I feel like on this diagonal, I'm destabilizing my knight. You can already see, like, we're deep in the intermediate territory. We're far past beginner chess. In beginner chess, the concept of destabilization is not something that we ever talk about. Another option is to play bishop to e3 and trade my bishop for that knight so that this pawn becomes more mobile, and now I can push it. Now, on rook e8, I think I'm going to, in fact, use my g-pawn. Now the knight can't go to that square, but it has to go there. And so by going to d7, I've kind of kicked the knight away from the king. Or you could just lose a pawn. Okay, that's peculiar. I'm just going to win a pawn now. Now, it's actually not the end of the world. But I don't like going to h5 in general. Even if I couldn't win this pawn, I don't think it's a very good idea for black to do this. Now, bishop f5 here is the best move. You stabilize your king, and you also attack my pawn. So bishop f5 really should be played without any hesitation. At that point, I probably need to bring my queen back. Another thing that I could do is ignore this pawn and sort of prioritize the rest of the position, whatever that means, right? Like, but I mean, I see a hanging pawn. Now I probably should protect it. And I don't like that my queen is running in against a fully fortified setup of pieces. Black here has what's called compensation. So even though I'm up a pawn, black's position is very reasonable. Very good bishop. Good bishop in front of the king, strong knight, nice central presence. You know, the ability to move the queen at some moment will also be very helpful. But still, I think this trade for me at the right moment is very critical to reopening the play in the position. So this is a direct attack on this pawn. Our options are to bring our king, which comes with its risks, and pushing the pawn, which also comes with the risks of opening the position. I think king h2 is very sensible. I do see pawn to e4 and bishop to e5, but if pawn to e4, my bishop immediately goes to f4. And I'm very comfortable with this prospect of activating my dark squared bishop. Having said that, now this bishop is quite strong. Maybe the rook is going to come to c8 next. You'll notice that with the last few moves that black has played, black has activated some pieces. This, I think, is a very massive overcommitment by my opponent. And it actually follows the thesis that intermediate players at this level simplify the position the wrong way. Rather not simplify, but transform. I think this bishop was better than my bishop. Now the question is, do I take or do I protect my bishop and kind of maintain tension? Honestly, it's a little tough to say. If I take, I activate the rook a little bit, but I don't really think the rook is doing that much on that square. If I play queen to e3, yeah, I mean, it's very tough to say. I think I'm going to go queen e3 just because, like, this is a lesson in keeping the tension. You don't always have to take something. Now, taking and helping me activate the queen completely feels like a very bad move. I still need to bring my rooks to the middle. I don't like where my rooks are. They're both bad. That's an attacking move. So that actually attacks my pawn. I can't take because I'm pinned, which is pretty wild. So I could slide back with my bishop or go here or go here. Or I guess I could take now. But then the queen would just be very active. So if we slide back like this is a very tough position to navigate. Very confusing. Now my queen defends the pawn, which it didn't previously because the bishop was in the way. So big tension here. Now if I bring my rooks to the middle to both defend and attack on e4, I should be able to win this position. And this knight should reposition backwards or forward. I think repositioning this knight is very important, which is in How to Win at Chess Next Level. But it's also something you can, revisit as a stronger player, which is rerouting your pieces. Now, still, I really am playing without the rooks. Black is playing with the rooks. This is defended. Rook c8 should have probably been played a long time ago. It's never too late to play rook c8. Rook c8 to then move the knight and hit this. Plus, it's the last piece that hasn't moved yet. I wouldn't be surprised when we analyze this game after, like, rook c8 has probably been the best move for a while. And now we see the 1400 transforming the position the wrong way. And I actually think, even though queen takes is an interesting move, I think taking with the pawn here is better because I immediately activate a rook. It's not just about the attack on the bishop. It's that I take over the tempo of the game, the pace of the game. That's what I think. So with one pawn move, I've now activated a piece that I should have never been able to activate. Rook f4 is there, rook f1. I can always play h4, defending my pawns. Queen e5, interesting. So we could trade the queens now, or we continue with the plan of bringing a piece to the middle. I mean, it's tough to know, and we do have to play a little faster. We also have knight to b5. Wow, knight b5 is very tactical. It threatens a fork. It threatens to take a pawn because the bishop is there. And it also loses 2 pawns. I mean, knight b5 is crazy. Knight b5 is a really tactical move. So we've opened this and this, but we threaten knight c7. We also have a bishop here and a pawn here. The queen is overloaded defending both of those. Now we're talking about 2000 level calculation, right? Like, how do you navigate through this? So I think for black, rook d8 might be the best move, because you need to guard. Oh, that doesn't actually guard d6 at all. Oh my gosh, this is wild. So rook d8, knight d6 does not protect because the knight is hanging. So, and this is also hanging. But if I take on a7, it does feel like I'm heading in the wrong direction. Oh, but maybe I can sacrifice the rook. Because if the queen takes and the knight takes, the knight attacks the queen, and the queen attacks the knight. Wow, I was thinking knight takes, queen takes, rook f5, and I just win a pawn, which is probably also good. But if I sack my rook, and then knight takes d6, oh no, that doesn't work, because the queen takes on d5. The queen can take on d5. So that doesn't work, so I probably have to go here. All right, we got to speed up. Knight takes d6. Look at this move. We attack the bishop, we attack the knight, and if they take us, we're going to go 2 pawns up. Knight d6 is a critical move for breaking down the black position, and black transformed this position wrong twice. And this is the way you're going to have to play to get to 1800. You have to start transforming your position with pawn trades or piece trades or a lack thereof correctly. So now I am 2 pawns up. I'm ready to bring my rook at a moment's notice. I'm ready to play c4 to defend my pawn. So my pawn is just always protected with another pawn instead of with a rook. I'm limiting the knight's mobility here. Rook f6 is always a possibility, just, looking at getting rid of the queen. And that's just a blunder. Look at this. My opponent tries a trade and totally blunders the knight. Another poor transformation by the 1480, and now I am completely winning because I'm just up a bishop. Previously, I was just up a pawn. The black rook never moved. My opponent lost the sense of direction in the middle game, and they never brought the other rook. Now, here they can play e3. The game is actually not finished, but it is, right? I'm going to play rook e1. They're going to play e2. I mean, I can threaten a queen trade, right? Like, you can threaten a trade. You are threatening to trade the queen here, because with no queen, there is no counterplay. You can take this pawn, but I'm going to go here. And if queen e7, I will surround this pawn with my queen and with my bishop, but also I can just push my d-pawn. So that's the important thing about converting a winning position. You can convert it through attack, but you can also convert it through defense. And there's so much to analyze in this game. And really what I've learned in studying high intermediate level play, which is 1500, which is the higher bound of how to win at chess next level, as I'm preparing the master level book, as we trade away the pawns, is master level players don't rush to transform the position. This is by far the biggest skill that I have realized. Okay, obviously everything is winning here. Let's centralize the queen, and we will win this by overwhelming with the pawn. And our king is completely safe, which is beautiful. If this queen goes somewhere like here, rook e1, queen c2, queen g5. Oh, maybe that entire sequence is going to happen. Queen g5. Of course, queen d2 is the best move, but, that's... Wow. there you go. Gotham predicting the future. And that's clean. Always looking for checks, always looking for the hanging pieces. And we're crossing 1500 with this game. I'm going to pre-place the number. So much to analyze there. I honestly feel like as these episodes get, larger in number, we're going to be doing a little bit more analyzing than we are even playing. I mean, I'd love to rush through these games, but there's so much to learn in the stuff that doesn't happen. I don't know what's going on. I really hope my opponent's not going to stall the clock out. That would be a little disappointing, but it is what it is. And are they really doing that? Wow. I don't have many legal moves, so anyway, the first major moment of this game, okay, my opponent abandoned. They abandoned. That's what we were waiting for. Okay, got it. So the first major moment of that game happened from the opening, right? I chose this setup, and here white can already choose whether to lock, keep the tension, or take. Honestly, they're all kind of okay. If you take, and then you trade the queens, you just play a queenless middle game. But white doesn't have any of the advantages of the position here. Black just gets quick development. Developing like this is fine, but then, of course, black is going to take. And in this pawn trade, black will have a strong diagonal. Black will have an e-file. And so what I did is I locked the position. And after c6 and knight e2, my opponent, honestly, in the beginning of the game was playing all top computer moves. Like this trade, even though I said, oh, my opponent was rushing into it or whatever, it's one of the best moves. And then my opponent went knight bd7, and the idea is to put the knight on c5. I already said, people at this level are not playing badly. Like, I have to spend 20 minutes outplaying a 1500. Of course, I can do it a little bit more viciously, but, so here I castled, and the position's around equal. If black chooses to play knight back to e8, followed by pawn to f5. But black went here, I went here, and then black played rook e8, which gave me the possibility to play this move g5. Now, what's really funny is that the computer likes b4. It actually doesn't care about destabilizing the position at all on this diagonal. It thinks b4 is a very reasonable move. And that's quite fascinating to me, because to me, I thought b4 and the knight just goes back somewhere. But I went g5, the opponent lost the pawn. Very nice move, bishop f5. And yeah, the computer likes bishop e3, giving this pawn away completely and transforming the position like this. And you will remember that that is the first thing that I pointed out, that transformation of bishop for knight, enabling the movement of my d-pawn for the future, trying to push it through, put my rooks in the middle, that was the correct transformation to free up the position. That's master level play. I knew that basically instantly off of, patterns, and different positions that I've seen. My opponent went e4, I went bishop f4, and now, look, the position's around equal, and in one move, the advantage doubles for white. Whether I take, keep the tension, or just rock back with the bishop, I could have just went here, but regardless, the opponent would have gone here, and I would have went rook d1. This is not perfect. It's, black gets counterplayed with knight a4 in this example, but if you play correctly from this position, white is just comfortably better. So rushing to trade the bishop here is kind of what got my opponent in hot water. Rook c8 here is a very good move. Knight a4 is good, trying to break down this position. But queen e7, and then I came back. And then this trade, look, 1 to 2. 2 moves by black. This move and this move double the advantage for white. And that is why people are stuck at 1500. And it's these subtle things that, this one thing that I've picked up on in my research of players at this level, I can have a whole video made on it, but it's so fascinating to have this insight. And this is why I like my brain. I have a chess teacher brain, and I have and not that many people are going to watch this video. This is episode 35 of a very long slow run. It might get 300,000-400,000 views, and you have watched it, and that means you have learned this skill to keep in mind for the future. So I went knight b5, and the position just got really forced. I looked at rook f5. It doesn't work because there's queen takes. If not for queen takes, this wins. But you have to be able to calculate, This is a position I would throw into a book. Like, do you play knight d6 or rook f5? Which of these two should you go for? And you have to be able to calculate rook f5, queen f5, queen d5 is just the refutation. And the rest of the game, I hope, was self-explanatory. That was an interesting game. Wow. All right. We are in the 1500s now. E4. Okay, there's a lot of different openings out there. Let's see how the Caro Kann is at 1500. Okay. People still don't know how to play the Caro Kann at 1500. That's very reassuring. The move knight c3 can happen at any moment. But in general, as long as they take your pawn, it's an exchange Caro Kann. So this is an exchange Caro Kann. Now, this is bad. White is already worse because the knight is in front of the c-pawn. And after we go bishop g4 to apply pressure to that knight and play something like e6, we are already at an advantage here with the black pieces, which a lot of people don't even fully grasp. White is going to play h3 at some point and waste more time. I'm actually, like, you don't even have to take, but just to show you, if you trade and this bishop ends up here, you can then play something like knight e7, and this bishop is just terrible. It is very, very, very poorly placed. It's not participating in the game at all. Then we target this bishop, and you'll notice we are already just looking at this white pawn on d4, combined with castling, combined with a potential kingside attack. White's light-squared bishop is a total non-factor. White is going to have to spend multiple turns moving this knight and trying to activate the c-pawn, which still won't really work. Because okay, knight b5 is certainly not a mistake. I can move my bishop back, or I can just castle. One thing I don't want to do here is play a6 because, well, what's going to happen is going to happen anyway. So let's just continue to improve. I don't want to take a step back. Now we have knights versus bishops. So bishops like open space. And that is one thing that they do not have in this position. They don't have open space at all. Bishop g4 is already looking for a trade with me. I don't want to leave the knight there because that would be damaging to my pawn structure. So maybe I'm going to take on e3. Or I'm going to defend my knight. I'm going to bring this knight to reinforce that knight. That's another very interesting potential idea. If I take, I open up my opponent's rook. We just saw in the last game how that wasn't very pleasant for me. Well, that wasn't very pleasant for my opponent. In this game, it wouldn't be very pleasant for me. So keeping the tension is a recurring theme, yeah? Keeping the tension. Looking for this critical moment in the game to actually make that trade. Next, I'm going to put a rook on the c-file. Queen d3 is a normal move. I'm going to put a rook on the c-file. Maybe I'm going to double my rooks on the c-file. c3 is also a solid move. I have queen b6, which attacks a pawn. And then maybe I can bring this knight there. That is one possibility. Another possibility is to go trade the queens and play a queenless position. I don't see anything wrong with trading the queen. If we trade the queen, we won't get checkmated. Bishop g5. Okay, my opponent has moved the bishop out of the way, but what exactly was the plan after something like pawn to h6? Wow. So it's just to immediately trade the bishop for the knight. Like, or maybe they just forgot about it. I don't know. Okay, that was a very, very big decision. Played virtually instantly. Now, let's see what happens if... I know deep down queen c4 is not the best move, but I wonder if my opponent will just rush to trade or not. This is the major question. Will my opponent trade queens, or will they play queen g3? Okay, queen d2. They have... My opponent's also so fast. Like, what? This is a crazy speed that they're playing at. I am monitoring potential sacrifices on this square. So I just want to be a little careful. My knight's a little bit clumsy. I'm not loving how it's positioned. But I think it's okay for now. Let's go b5. Let's advance on this side of the board. Oh, that is a very passive move. I don't like that move at all. We're just expanding, and I'm looking for pawn to b4, potentially. Okay, bishop e2, I mean, I can just come back, but what is this? This is such a misuse of pieces. Like, I don't like it at all. So c4 is coming. Obviously, if we just hammer there, we're going to get in the way. So let's move the queen out of the way to b6. You'll notice how every move we're playing is very subtle. Like, there's not, not some insanely complicated strategy here. We're going for very subtle play. When this move is played, I'm noticing a lot of things, but namely, I'm noticing that pawn is a lot weaker than it just was. So I don't know which way to take first is better, or to take twice, and it actually makes no difference. If I take like this, I can push, but if I take, maybe, I think rook b1 is actually the best move here by white, to throw in an attack on me first. But we're trading, and now we're targeting the isolated pawn. Okay. Now, knight f5 would target the pawn again. d5, maybe queen c5. And then I could pick the pawn up. I also can start with, I have to be a little careful. I mean, my pawn over here could be weak. This is like really wild though. I mean, the opponent is not a bad player at all, and is double on my clock, which is really fascinating. At some point I'm gonna have to start speeding up. e5 is also, then there's d5. So knight f5 here, queen c5 could be something, but I'm not even completely convinced. Wow. I'm gonna have to really lock in to win this game. I mean, no, chess is at a level now, like the chess skills are at a level that I don't think we've ever seen before. Okay. How do we win? I think I can stay a little patient, but I can't stay patient for very long. The speed at which my opponent is playing is very disturbing. So I looked at this line. I didn't like the move rook c1. Okay, my opponent is like totally uninterested in... Oh, I can't even... Did I think I had like 97 here or something? What did I think I had? Okay. All right, I'm going to go 97. The thing is... So... Wow, d6. Okay, but now the pawn is looking very precariously placed. Like queen c7, maybe? Okay, no, this is... This is getting too dicey. This is getting too dicey. Okay, they go g4, which looks a little bit insane. I'm gonna walk over to this pawn. I'm like not even gonna be able to explain my thought process. Queen to d6. Okay. Let's move the knight out of the way and play king e7, and then go knight e5. Is there like f4? What is this? What What is going on? Like, who am I playing? Okay, knight f4. Please go here. Please? Okay, I attack the rook. But there's just like rook a6. I mean, my opponent has like straight up not made a mistake. Like I'm getting... This is wild. I'm waiting for some moment to do something like, but what the reason I'm spending so much time is because I'm like spooked. Yeah, I'm just spooked. Like I don't know. Like rook c8 is coming. Rook c5? Like what? Uh-huh. I can't even play rook to b2. So rook takes, and I just can't. I don't even have counterplay on the king. What? What is going on? Okay, rook d5. This is crazy. King c7. If here, that doesn't even work, I don't think. Does it work? Okay, they just ran away. I'm attacking the bishop. Okay. Have I? Oh my god, they even stopped that. All right, maybe they hang a fork. I mean, this is like this is ridiculous. Truly. Okay, a fork has been blundered. I have a minute and 30 seconds. And if this, they could blunder everything by accident. Rook a3 check. I have no explanations remaining. I mean, I'm not even sure I'm gonna win this, to be honest with you. And my opponent... What? Guys, oh man, when I started the slow run, I gotta tell you, I really did not know what to expect. If this is the way that the games are going at 1500, we are in for a really bad time. Really bad time. I don't even have any analysis of that game. My opponent played like a world champion. You know, rook c1. I mean, I thought I was just going to take over the game right here when I was just expanding on the queen side, which is actually normal in these positions. This is called a queen side majority versus, minority attack. And I went here. This was all correct. This transformation was good. And d5 was excellent. This was excellent. This was excellent. And like suddenly they just they created this bind against my my position where I couldn't move. Like I just couldn't move. I mean, every important move, f4 was a nice move, f5 was a nice move. I was fighting, and then e5 was a mistake. I should have played knight to d5. I should have kept the rook out of the game. But honestly, at this point, the way the game was going, I was like, oh, I'm just going to lose. Like, I just like... So I made an inaccuracy, and I allowed this, and then I was losing. So 1,000,000%, like, to drop back here, and then rook c2, and rook c5, and win my pawn. Yeah, it was just totally winning, and then my opponent decided here to blunder a fork. And my opponent resigned in a winning position because here they can play rook c8 check, take, 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 and they're winning. Okay, folks. Well, that concludes the strangest slow run episode that we have had so far. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating games. I don't know. I'm gonna go watch the World Cup. Maybe we need a slow run break, or I have to record these episodes after drinking some more coffee. Wow. Yeah. Crazy level of play. I will just comment from the opening. I was better. I mean, I basically said, like, from the opening, you know, black, practically speaking, has a very good position. And yeah, here I was, you know, I was comfortably better from the opening. Instead of knight f5, I should have went rook c8 to meet this move with bishop b8 so that my rook is not blocked out. That's very interesting. But I could have also played a6. But a6 is bad. Rook c8 is better. So I had an advantage, but the opponent quite literally did not play a bad move and resigned in a winning endgame position. Rook c8. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but in the meantime, get out of here.